Right, we're back. Legend of Vox Machina. Wow, this was like this was Dungeons and Dragons on Dungeons of Dragons, smoking Dungeons of Dragons. It was really, really well done. I am impressed. Not bad. I think like why didn't we do this sooner? Like guys, like seriously, this was good. Amazon Original produces a fantastic Dungeons and Dragons TV series, The Legend of Vox Machina. This is, by the way, like totally 18 plus. A lot of language. There's nudity. There's a lot of what do you call this? Blood and gore. And there's a lot of like crude talk and whatever. But it was done. It's done really well for adults, where it balances the adult jokes together with the seriousness of the situation. You can feel the stakes and the tension, and the comedy is not for the sake of comedy. There are moments where the characters are really just funny and stupid, and it really feels like it's you playing with your group of your friends, where you know the barbarian is going to do that. You know the bard is going to do something stupid there. You know the mage, or in this case the druid, is going to be just doing her own thing, trying to get her enchantments going, and then having some sort of massive cooldown where she can only do a spell once per day. So all these things, all these like references and these Easter eggs and all the callbacks and Scanlan's hand and whatever. It's amazing. For those of you who are a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, who have played the game, and I'm not talking just Matt Mercer style. I'm talking like you actually sit down with your friends and had the opportunity to play it. And even if you did not, there are ways to play online as well, like roll 20. You can play on your phones. There's so many ways to play Dungeons and Dragons. The game has really evolved over the years. But to have a TV series that actually puts together not just the D&D aspect, but also the fantasy aspect of all these characters, takes you back in time to the days of the guilds and the sort of the medieval days, right, where all these magic and mystery and technology are still coming together and trying to live as one. And then there's the dark wizards and vampires and werewolves and all of these mythical lore. I think this series has so much potential, and this being the first season, I think was just on the mark. It was brilliant. I'm not gonna say it's perfect. It's not gonna be like, it's not the best series in the world. Story has its low points. Some of the jokes do come out as unnecessary or land flat. There are moments where the characters just do very questionable things, where it doesn't really suit their character that they seem to be building towards. Like, you'd expect certain characters to become more intelligent after they've gone through certain things in some episodes, but they don't really evolve or change. Some of them are sort of reset to what they were at the beginning, from the beginning to the end. They don't really evolve that much, and some characters take a very questionable arc to go through a very difficult route. I'm talking about um the priest, the cleric character here. Um, what's her name? Is it Pike? I think it's Pike. Who was the what do you call this? The cleric character. She plays like a gnome cleric, I think. And she takes a very questionable journey where, after she gets hit by a vampire's curse, she doesn't no longer has access to her god's powers. So she actually has to go to a temple and pray to try to recover that ability. And I have no idea why they had to do that arc. Is it because she's just too OP for these characters to enjoy their story against the vampires? And even if so, she lost the powers after being hit by a single vampire. I don't think she's that OP anymore. But yeah, they really dragged her out for several episodes until the very end, where she comes back super OP. And then there's that really crazy battle towards the end, really just crazy epic battle between the characters. And certain characters have just more development than others, are given a better backstory. Like this gunner's character was just too good. He had too good of a backstory, and it just overshadowed all the other characters in terms of backstory, in terms of weight given to the character, in terms of the mystery behind and the nature of the character is just too overpowering. The rest of the characters, I felt like they were given their own roles to do. Like, I believe the bard actually had a really good character development. Like he is his personality throughout, but you can see that he has learned and evolved as things happen and how he grows. The barbarian also doesn't really change much, pretty much just a stone as is, a cornerstone, or rather a very stable character throughout. His nature too is very stable. Keelit, I think, is the name of the what do you call this, the druid, and she too doesn't really change. You thought you'd see some romance between her and Vox, I think, Vox and Vax, but the romance doesn't really turn out the way it should, and her character also doesn't really achieve what she wanted to. She does grow in terms of power throughout the series, but we don't really see her story being fulfilled yet. And between these two, you have a great brother and sister relationships that's very consistent throughout. You do have certain moments where they have to challenge each other, where one is under mind control and they have to fight each other. That sort of moments, throwing the brother and sister relationship and love in there to try to see whether they can fight each other. Basic stuff, nothing really too amazing or anything like that. But as a collective group, I believe this Vox Machina has a lot of potential. There's a lot of cute moments, like with this bear where they're playing around. This bear, unfortunately, you don't see it in the ending because they don't take it along. But then there are these other moments that are just seriously crazy. This is one of the best moments in the series, I have to say, where this entire team is like taking out a bunch of these ghouls, I believe, that are summoned by the vampires to go and kill them. And they're unable to attack the ghouls at first because the Gauls can phase through everything, but then when Keyleth activates her ability to shine some light onto the Gauls, and they realize the Gauls become tangible, they just go batshit crazy, killing all the Gauls, and that's just a really epic moment. And it starts off really well. The first two episodes builds up really well into a battle against an amazing dragon. I think that was really, really well done. And also the emotional aspect of how they try to build a simple story about a bunch of villages who are killed by a dragon who these characters build a relationship with like 5 minutes ago. It's really short. It's like a 20-minute relationship. Rather, the relationship is built over like 5 minutes, but you see it like stretch over 20 minutes before they are dead, but you can feel for them because it's very well done. Like the dialogues and the pacing, I think it's really, really well done. Each episode is about a half an hour long, so you want to keep going until you finish it because yeah, it does feel like it does want you to continue to watch because some episodes don't give you enough, and some episodes are heavy where you decide, okay, this is where we stop. Let's let it sink in, and then we go the next day for the next episode. And so we had those ups and down moments. Me and my wife watched this together. I think we absolutely enjoyed it. It has great moments, a lot of mystery, a lot of good comedy, especially as I'm saying. The comedy is really, really brilliant. Like it comes at the good moments. It's really gallows humor, as you can see. There's a lot of blood everywhere, and you feel the tension. But at the same time, there is seriousness where even though the characters are joking, you know that they can die, and it's not something. It's not a moment where you can really be laughing about it. But there are moments where you're just losing your shit because Scanlan's doing something really stupid. Scanlan's the bard here, and he's like really, really well done, really well written, great bunch of jokes. But he's too strong in terms of the comedy in the story. His comedy is like overpowering all the other characters, and therefore I think the balance is what this team really lacks. They complement each other really well on screen. As a troop, because they are all shown moments where they all do their own battle sequences. But as characters, in terms of development, Scanlan and this gunner have too much of character development going on, as opposed to all the other characters who are pretty much sort of side characters in this story. Regardless, I believe Vox Machina has a lot of potential. I can't wait to see more of a second season, or even if it's another troop altogether, where we are reintroduced to the characters, a new story. I think I would still love it. It was absolutely brilliant as a Dungeons and Dragons story. And also all the references and the Easter eggs. Like if you are a D&D fan or you have played D&D, you would get certain references that other people wouldn't. But even if you don't get the references, there are still plenty to look forward to. A lot of jokes, a lot of great moments, a lot of like battle sequences towards the epic finale as well was really well done. I think overall, The Legend of Vox Machina is not going to be something that's as impressive or as amazing as what Arcane was, as I think Arcane was the best animated series in the last 10 years. I think that's just my opinion, hands down. I think I'm going to stick to it. Arcane has been untouchable in terms of the quality of animation, the story, the character development, as well as the action sequences. I think it was amazing. Arcane did lack action sequences, it focused a lot more on the character building. This one, on the other hand, had a lot more action sequences, and it also had character building. It's just unfortunately all the characters didn't get fleshed out as well, because you are putting together a band, a team, right? So the moment you put together a team, you expected your team to sort of, I mean, function together as a unit. And the fact that some characters get it better than others just feels a little imbalanced. But I do understand they try to do something, you know, equal for all of them. But considering the runtime of each episode and the number of episodes they had, probably a second season would do justice for certain other characters. Especially, I think Keyleth needs to have her story completed. I think the what do you call this? The cleric story is not complete as well. I feel that they need to give her a little more. I mean, yes, she's great against undead, great against the undead, but her sort of meeting with her god to sort of talk to the god and try to get her powers back. That entire dialogue was building up to something amazing, but it didn't really conclude really well. Like they didn't show what the conversation really was towards the end. They sort of cut it short, and then she just shows up to save the team in an epic moment. So I thought after that they give some closure as to what the dialogue was, but they did not really. So I hope it really comes back in the second season to sort of give us a bit more backstory, and perhaps, yeah, this will be one for the ages. I really enjoyed it. It was really really fun, super exciting, very adult cartoon, but yeah, I think this is what it should be like. I think this is a really good milestone to what a D&D cartoon should be, which is really just unbarred and unleashed, and awesome. So yeah. Anyway, let me pull out my rating for Vox Machina here. And there we go. It's a 7 out of 10. I think it's brilliant. It's totally rewatchable, super fun. I can't wait for there to be a second season. The comedy, the action, the character building was just amazing. The animation as well was pretty good. I feel there were certain moments where you can feel certain, like, I think the frame rate is just 30 fps throughout. I don't think that's a 60 fps shot of this. It really feels 30 fps, but you can tell it's done on purpose just to make it feel more like a cartoon. And this is something animators do these days. They know that their animation is just well beyond what a cartoon normally looks like, and they try to reduce it feeling 3D and make it look more like a drawing. And one of the best ways to keep that feeling there is to bring the FPS down to 30. And I think it was a 30 FPS story because I was watching it in 1080, and yeah, it didn't really feel like it was that fast. But there are some really heavy CGI moments you can also see. Especially when the barbarian goes fighting, you can see some pretty heavy CGI moments when he's running towards the enemy and smashing them up. But I think it's all well melded in and well camouflaged with the cartoon and CGI combination. And I think overall animation wise, it's pretty good. Like, it's not the greatest out there, honestly, but it's pretty good. If it was arcane level of animation, probably that would have been a little more impressive. But I think the cartoon style, the very basic drawing and low FPS, I think is good enough for this. Like, as you can see, it's very cartoonish drawing, and I think I really like it. It's really nice to see this art style after a long time. But it is what it is. It can only be judged for what is given. And I think mainly the dialogues are what really carry this story. As I said, some jokes do fall short, and some characters not given equal weight. But I think overall it's super enjoyable and a must watch if you ask me. Scanlan was amazing, such a brilliant character, so well done. And the gunner as well. What is his name actually? Percy, right? Yeah, Percy was a really, really cool and fun character. Vex, oh, it's Vax and Vex, right? So Vax and Vex are also really nice, really well done. How will you rate? I will rate this, buddy, but just hang on, don't prompt me for this for now. So Sam Riegel, I think, oh, is what plays Scanlan. That's pretty cool. No wonder he's so funny. Marisha Ray plays Keyleth, right? That makes total sense. Ashley Johnson plays Pike. I didn't know this. And Travis plays Krog. Okay, that's hilarious. And Matt Mercer is Silas, right? Of course, he's Silas. So these are things I had no idea of, but I know it has to be Matt Mercer and the gang who has to be involved in this because it's D&D, and what would it be without Matt Mercer? These people are really champions of role playing. They really bring the role playing aspect to D&D really well. They don't do so much of the challenge and the calculations and the bring your math book to the table sort of aspect. Some people like to play D&D that way, not more combat oriented. But Matt Mercer really brought it down with his team, and really put depth to the character aspect, which is the role playing aspect. And I think that really shows here. And all the characters are shown really well, beloved. But I wish we had more of a backstory to some of these characters. Percy's story as well, very much kept in the shadows until the very last moments. And I think that it should have been something that should have just revealed a little earlier, because he was like, sure, no lies, no more lies. I'm going to tell everything. And then he doesn't tell everything. Like certain things just was weird choices or decisions made by some characters. Like, you're in trouble. You should just reveal what the problem is. And turns out there was a demon inside him. So, well, thank God they figured it out before it was too late, but it seemed to be getting in the way of some of the plot, and it's just like, oh god, just tell everyone what your problem is already. So yeah, some moments like that. So yeah, overall for me, I think a 7 out of 10 is a decent rating. 8.5 here in IMDb, I think is also a pretty solid rating for this. So yeah, I think it's great. I can't wait to see the next season, and I really want there to be more of these. We need these fantasy stories, these zombie apocalypse stories, these sport. I think a sports series is what's missing right now. We need a sports series. Like, remember how amazing all the animes was, the basketball animes, the football animes, Captain Tsubasa, and all these sorts of things. I think there needs to be more, like sports series and anime series and pirate series and zombie series. There's such a void right now of TV series, and I know these are all big budget asks, and there's so many things, projects ongoing that just takes time to build onto. But we are getting such, like, look at this, look at the more like this that I'm looking at right now, right? We have Arcane straight away as a comparison, and Dota Dragons, but Arcane is the king of this, right? Animation, you're talking TV series animation, fantasy, Arcane just tops this entire list. Dota Dragon's Blood is brilliant, the first season especially, second one not so much. Haven't watched Boba Fett, but I might look into it because I heard it has a lot of Mandalorian lore going on. Witcher Nightmare of the Wolf was terrible, honestly. But yeah, I think that there's more to come. Incredibles was pretty good. It was pretty incredible. But The Boys, I think, is what I'm looking forward to. The Boys season 3 should be something that will put Incredible out of business. Invincible, sorry. Invincible out of business. So yeah, just waiting for that. Anyway, that's it for me for this one. See you guys in the next. Take care.